Hey, so I'm here with Pastor Todd Smith of Crossroads Community Church, and we're going to tell you what every church member should correct their pastor on. And we don't often give that advice because we get enough of that.
Exactly.
People telling us what we should have done differently or how they heard a better message on the way to church. So we're going to get to that in just a second. Todd, tell us real quickly kind of your journey to become a pastor, and did you grow up out here, and a little bit about that.
So I grew up in a Christian family and ended up going into business as I was going through college, got married, and ended up in a business career. And then about 13 years ago, God just kind of put it on my heart to go into the ministry. Mm-hmm. And so I quit my career, went to seminary, and came out of seminary and planted a church, which I don't recommend anybody quitting a career, going to seminary, starting ministry, and planting a church all within 2 years. But hey, it was fun.
What'd your family think of that?
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay, so Crossroads Community Church started out here in Valencia in your living room?
It actually started in the backyard of some friends of ours in Stevenson Ranch.
I've been to that house.
Yeah, you've been to that house.
Yeah.
And so they were gracious enough to open up their backyard for the summer, and we met on Sunday nights, about 25 of us, and we decided to launch at a school, West Ranch High School, out here in Santa Clarita that September, and so we did.
Yeah, so that's kind of where our story connects. We were meeting in a movie theater for seemingly forever, and then we moved. We were going to build this building, and we're in the process of building the building, and you just moved in a building, you know how long it can take.
Yep.
And it was taking forever, and so we decided we got to move out of the movie theater. We need a bigger space, and West Ranch High School said you can use our gym. You guys were in the cafeteria at the time, right?
Right.
And I don't know, I just felt this thing in my gut that said, just make sure that's okay with that church that's there. And there was another church that was there after you guys, right?
Yeah.
So I just went to you and said, hey, are you okay with this? And Todd was awesome about it. And he said, absolutely, because it's not a competition. It's all for the kingdom. So you can use that room, we'll use this room, and we'll be fine. And it was just a great partnership. And you guys were great neighbors. So as a result, you fast forward several years, and you can kind of tell your side of the story then from what happened.
Yeah, so we ended up leaving the school, getting into some temporary warehousing, and then we ended up buying a building. And so we buy the building, we do the construction, and as you know and everybody knows, construction always takes longer than you want, costs more than you want to spend. And so we had just scheduled our end of our leases at our current location perfectly with our building being finished, and we executed the culmination of all of our leases, and we get a phone call that now the building's not going to be done. And so we're out on the street, and so we're like, where are we going to take our church? So we're literally in the wilderness. We're checking the parks, we're calling, can we meet, in Macy's men's department, and we're trying to think of anywhere we can meet to at least gather as a church. And we had a couple ideas, a couple locations, but honestly, they were going to be really uphill sledding for us. Mm-hmm. And we were all pretty discouraged. And that's when, out of the blue, I got a text from you. And I don't even know the whole story, but you find out that I guess we're looking for a place, and you make an incredibly gracious offer to us to use Savia, your location there in Newhall, and toss us the keys. And I remember when you texted me and you made that offer, I even texted back like, are you talking about Sunday or like Wednesday night or something? Because I couldn't imagine that a church would offer a facility on Sunday. And then even more than that, it's like you said, Sunday morning, like prime time. And so it was just like blew all of us away.
It was such a cool thing because my wife was at an event with some other ladies, some of which go to your church, and they were just kind of casually mentioning, our church is going to be homeless here in a few weeks. And I remember it was like 9 o'clock at night. That's usually when you're in bed.
Right.
So it's a miracle you were up.
2 hours.
Yeah. So Anyway, she said, hey, did you know Crossroads is kind of in a gap between their building? And I had no idea. And so texted you and we figured the whole thing out. But you were obviously very thankful, but I just felt like, boy, this was, you opened up your house first, and we got a chance to do this with you guys, and it was an honor, and then to kind of tell the rest of the story, you guys were in there for 6 months?
Yeah, we were in there for 6 months.
Okay, so then you move out, and then they get in their fantastic new facility, and we were going to host a night to remember for the third year in a rented facility we'd have to pay for, and Todd says, hey, you guys can use our place for free. So it was such a godsend for how that works. And the reason I wanted everybody to hear our story is we have every reason to not get along, okay? Because we're in the same business, in the same town. There are people from my church that have left us to go to your church, and vice versa. And those stories hurt because there's friendships involved, and we could easily take it personally, and we could easily think that you or me were the competition. But the thing that pastors always say is, oh no, it's a kingdom business, we're all in this together, but we don't often practice that. And whether we meant to or not, we happen just to do that. And I can tell you, I've done it the other way, and it's not near as fulfilling as doing it this way.
Yeah.
And so it has been so thrilling to be in partnership with you. What have you seen from your perspective? Because this is kind of new ground for both of us.
Yeah.
You don't see churches doing this a lot.
It was very energizing for our congregation and a huge blessing because they know the same thing you just said. Mm-hmm. And our people know that, your people know that. And so when they saw the leadership of the churches going, hey, we're not gonna have any walls here, and we're gonna be on the same team because we wear the same jersey. Mm-hmm. And the people then read that from us, mm-hmm. and they read that from the church leadership, and then that kind of, I've heard dozens of stories of how that kind of trickled down into coffee conversations, and I think it was a huge blessing to both of our congregations, and particularly our congregation, because we were huge beneficiaries in this, but also just a blessing of, okay, this is the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah, exactly. And I think about the churches in our community, and every community, wherever you're watching this, if everybody were to just unite together instead of emphasizing what divides us, because you have stylistic differences from me, and there are things that are different about your church than ours, and that's okay.
Sure.
We all serve the same God, and we all believe in Jesus. So, hey, if we could find the things that unite us rather than divide us, it'd be really, really helpful. So, you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I think that is so true. It's our country is at a place where everybody's divided, mm-hmm. and I think it's a great opportunity for the church to model, like, you can have differences mm-hmm. and still be like not casual friends but decent friends mm-hmm. and caring friends, and maybe in a small way we model that for some people mm-hmm. at a time in our country's history where everybody's polarized.
Right, exactly. So here's the challenge that Todd and I have for you. If you are a Christ follower and you attend a church somewhere, support your pastor, support your church, pray for them. But if your pastor is critical of another church in the community, you throw the yellow flag and say, that is not cool. That is not what Jesus prayed for in John 17. That is not maintaining unity, as Paul talks about in Ephesians. And I'm going to tell you right now what they're going to say, because I've said it. I am just fighting against injustice, or against how people shouldn't do ministry, or you need to know the sheep or the wolves out there in sheep's clothing. I mean, you've heard these things, right?
Yeah.
They're usually said about you or me. But if that happens, then all you need to say to them is this: have you talked to them privately? Because if they won't talk to them privately, why are they talking about them publicly? And Todd and I would tell you, if we do that about another pastor here in town or somewhere else, you throw the flag on us and you come and talk to us.
Absolutely.
And if you're a part of a church that does that, just challenge your pastor to say, hey, talk to him privately before you talk about it publicly. Not in a mean way, not in a condescending way, not judgmental, but just, hey, we're all on the same team.
Yeah, and I think if we can model this and realize that Jesus didn't sell franchises to the church. He bought it. He owns it. And again, we're all wearing the same jersey. Yeah. If you want to use the team metaphor. And let's face it, ministry for you and I and for anybody in ministry, it's hard enough let alone when the bullets are turned inward.
Yep, exactly.
There's enough enemies out there that are, and we have a lion seeking to devour every church, that we just need to spend little to no time with this internal family stuff.
Yep, exactly. We'll all share heaven together. Our friend Larry Osborne, I heard him say one time that churches are all just Sunday school classes in God's great big church.
That's great.
And I think about the Sunday school classes I had in our church growing up. They all had their own name.
Right.
They're like the Bereans,
Right.
the
XYZ
doubles.
at the very end of life.
Exactly. Spares and pairs. Yeah. So those are all just little classes in the big church, and that's kind of what churches are. They're all various classes in the big C church, and there's no need for us to take shots at each other. So anyway, I hope that we can be more unified in this community and see more things like this partnership continue, because I've been blessed by our friendship. I mean, even though you're a Denver Broncos fan, and I think that may keep you out of heaven, but no,
my
seriously.
sunsets are orange.
That's probably true. The sun's going down with Broncos, by the way. But no, seriously, the conversations we've had, the encouragement you've been towards me, have helped us both through some dark days, and not just providing facilities, but friendship as well.
Absolutely.
Hanging out with you and your wife and me and my wife, it's just been a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
And I know my daughters have been blessed by your daughters teaching at the school they go
Crazy
to.
as that.
I know.
Crazy.
That's just how old you are. You have married kids. I got kids in their classes.
That's not right.
But seriously, thank you, because, and this is what we've been talking about this whole month, we are better together.
Absolutely.
And as a shameless plug for a book coming out. But seriously, you're a lot of the reason that I believe that. So
That's awesome.
thanks, man.
Jason.
So anyway, Todd Smith, Crossroads Community Church, and so grateful for him and the other churches in this community. So encourage your pastor, and challenge your pastor as well. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.